Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer, the show where I break down the NBA games from the night. This is our first one of the 2023 NBA season, and I couldn't be happier to be here back with y'all breaking down games. This is one of my favorite parts of each NBA night. I'm going to be here more nights than not, so make sure you leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Hit that notification bell while you're there too. And to the guy who's been telling me to get a haircut on my last 3 videos, I'm trying. The barber's been closed. There were 2 games to kick off the NBA season. We had Celtics versus Sixers in the early slate, and then we had Lakers versus Warriors later where they got their rings. The first game was much better, so we're going to start off with that one, and then we'll get into Lakers versus Warriors. In the battle of the 2 Eastern Conference contenders, the Celtics beat the Sixers by 9 points. It was a double-digit game for the better part of the fourth quarter, but the Sixers did try to keep it close, and it was a pretty good game throughout. But Boston was just the better team tonight. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in particular went absolutely off, combining for 70 points, 35 apiece. Jaylen Brown's was a bit quieter. I really didn't even notice he had a 30-piece until I looked at the box score and I was like, oh my gosh, he has been scoring that much, which is typically kind of how Jaylen Brown does it. I feel like he just kind of gets his buckets in a quieter way. He did have one crazy dunk at one point that kind of got the stadium up on their feet, but for the most part, it feels like he kind of just quietly gets 30 and there's nothing you can do about it. Then of course, there's Jason Tatum, who in my opinion is a top 10 player and a dark horse MVP candidate coming into this season. If the Celtics have a similar run to what they had last year, where they're one of the best teams in the conference, a 1 or a 2 seed, Tatum's going to put up a lot of noise for the award. And I've said in the past that I think Tatum will get one at some point in his career, and maybe this is the year. A lot of people are going to say I'm overreacting to that, but just he looked so calm and collected coming into this game. He was a complete killer. There was nothing they could do to stop him. They tried a bunch of different defenders. PJ Tucker got the assignment for the most part, but it didn't matter. And PJ Tucker played really good defense. There's just nothing you could do. He was shooting right over guys, off the dribble mid-range pull-ups, hitting threes, step backs. Absolutely nothing you could do when Jason Tatum's in that zone. There's a reason the Celtics got to the finals last year. A lot of it is due to him, and of course the play of the other guys that we're going to get to in a second. But first, let's talk a bit about Malcolm Brogdon, who came into this team in the offseason. It doesn't feel fair that a team this good got a guy like Malcolm Brogdon to now come off their bench as a 6-man. Great defender, playmaker, efficient scorer, legit 50, 40, 90 guy. Immediately came in and made an impact in this one. He's going to be a force in the 6-man of the year race. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it, and if he does, it's not going to be off sheer numbers, but he immediately impacts the game the second he comes in. I just can't believe that they have a player like him to come off their bench after how good they were last year. It just kind of feels unfair to a lot of the other teams in the East. But the biggest thing to me for the Celtics coming into this game was, how are they going to look without Robert Williams, and the fact that they have a new head coach that came in right at the end of the offseason because of the whole situation with Udoka. There was a lot going on, and that's part of why I was a bit hesitant about how they would perform in the regular season. I thought by the playoffs, they would kind of have everything figured out, but it looked like they were in the middle of the season. It didn't look like the first game from them. Robert Williams, of course, great defensive anchor, but he won't be playing till 2023, so they need Horford to step up in a big way, and he absolutely did, as well as the rest of the Celtics. Noah Vonleh played pretty good in this one, and he got a couple silly fouls, but he was guarding Joel Embiid. You gotta cut him some slack. But just overall, the Celtics for a while feel like they've kind of had Joel Embiid's number. They know how to play him better than any other team, and that's what they did tonight. They made his life really, really difficult, and he still got some numbers because he's Joel Embiid. He's one of the best players in the world, but they made him work for every single basket, forced him into a ton of turnovers that you typically don't see from Embiid, but just the way that they got their hands in there the second he caught the ball, they were always double teaming at the right time. They weren't going immediately, but the second that he got it, someone was looking, and they were waiting for that exact moment to run over there and double, and I feel like they got it right basically every single time. The Celtics are just really good. I thought they were going to have more issues to start off, but they look ready to repeat as the Eastern Conference champions. And we have the Sixers, who were led in this game by James Harden, who looked really, really good. He had 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. He looked much quicker, and I've been saying on this channel, I'm expecting a James Harden bounce back. It's looking like that might actually be the case, which would be awesome, because vintage James Harden is always fun to see. He was hitting and one threes in this one, attacking the basket, of course drawing fouls along the way, but he was just doing everything the Sixers need from him. They need him to be that dominant presence. They need him to be aggressive, and he kind of fell into some passivity if that's a word, in the playoffs last year and towards the end of their regular season as well. Just overall, when James Harden got to Philly, it felt like he was kind of looking for other guys, not trying to be too much in the spotlight. They need this type of James Harden. They're not going to need 35 every night, but they need him to be aggressive, go out there and score, and be that guy that we saw in Houston for so many years, or even the guy that we saw in Brooklyn in his first year, where I feel like a lot of people forgot how good he was. He looked really similar to that tonight. If Harden keeps this up, the Sixers are going to be a real problem. Embiid had 26, 15, and 5 alongside him, but he also had, I think, around 5 turnovers, and a lot of them were just silly mistakes. He was kind of fumbling the ball in the post too, not hitting some of the shots we usually see Embiid hit, and that's just rust. You're going to see a lot of teams that start off super slow to begin the year. There's a lot of sloppy basketball in both of these games. It's the first game of the actual regular season. This is the first time you're taking it seriously. You've got all your guys playing together. It's going to take some time to get adjusted to all that, so I'm not super worried. To be honest, even though they lost, I was really encouraged by what I saw from Philly. Of course, there were some concerns to be had. I didn't love the use of Tyrese Maxey in the offense. It felt like he kind of got frozen out of it for the first half. In the second half, he got more aggressive, and really the teammates just got him the ball more, which it felt like they were kind of just doing their own thing, specifically Joel Embiid and James Harden doing a lot of their own thing, but they started to get Tyrese Maxey involved. They got a lot of open looks. Some of them just didn't fall, but I really liked what I saw from them for the most part in this game. They looked solid defensively too. Like I said, Jason Tatum was just unconscious, and while they did lose, I'm encouraged by what I saw from the Sixers. I think they're going to be really good this season. And overall, I feel like if you're a Sixers fan, you should still be pretty happy with this outcome. If I had to give one big concern though, it would probably be the bench production. We didn't really see much out of D'Anthony Melton, Danuel House, Montrezl Harrell, guys that got a lot of off the bench minutes. Really, their big four of Joel Embiid, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias Harris did the bulk of the scoring, which I expect to be the case on any given night, but they need more production from the bench. They need some guys to hit some shots here and there. That wasn't there tonight, so maybe that'll end up being a problem. Then we've got Warriors versus Lakers, where the Warriors won 123-109. Steph Curry was unconscious in this one after getting his 4th ring. He went out and dropped 33, 6, and 7, and he was a little bit slow to start the game, but towards the end, when the Lakers were trying to make a bit of a comeback in the 3rd, 4th quarter, Curry really started to turn it up and completely slammed the door on them. There was nothing the Lakers could do at that point. Andrew Wiggins also contributed in that effort, getting his new extension. Jordan Poole also getting an extension, wasn't as good in this game. He started off really hot and kind of cooled down a bit, but his playmaking and his ability to draw a lot of attention from defenders was still super valuable. And the Golden State Warriors just look like the champions. They look like a team that was coming into it to raise a banner, and they did not mess around. They didn't look at this Lakers team and go, oh, they missed the playoffs, we're going to take it easy. No, they immediately stepped on the gas, which is exactly what you want to see. You don't want to see your team fall into a lull, which I didn't expect the Warriors to do. They've done this, 4 times now? I didn't expect them to fall into some kind of lull and be a bit slow to start the season. While they did have some sloppy turnovers here and there, once again, it's the start of the season. Every team's going to have those, but Golden State just looked locked in from the get-go. There's a reason why they're many people's favorites to win the championship again, and I wouldn't be surprised if we keep seeing what we got here. Steph Curry might make an MVP case as well. And then there's the Los Angeles Lakers, who I've got a lot to say about. I won't go too deep into it because I have a feeling I'm going to be able to talk about this a lot this season. But it was rough watching the Lakers, specifically offensively. Defensively, they did seem better. I liked their rotations more. It felt like there was more effort on that end. And I know Darvin Ham is a defensive coach, so that is to be expected. But overall, I was more impressed with their defensive effort in this game than I was most games of last season, probably almost all of them. You, of course, got great performances from LeBron James, who almost had a 31-point triple-double, and Anthony Davis, who had 27 points and 6 rebounds. And he looked really good to start the game. He kind of slowed down a bit towards the end, but at the beginning he was being really aggressive and they were feeding him, which they should do. AD has to be super involved. He is the X factor for this team. And Russ also had a good game. He had 19, 11, and 3. So that big three, they looked pretty good. They looked a lot more cohesive than I've seen them basically ever before. And if this is a sign of things to come, maybe this trio still can work in some way. But the supporting cast is awful. This is a terrible supporting cast for a team with these 3 guys on it as their lead players. With LeBron James, basically the only rule of a LeBron James team is get him shooters. That's all you have to do. And same with Russell Westbrook, get him shooters. And same with Anthony Davis, get him some shooters. So what the Lakers do? Not bring in a single shooter. They shot 10 of 40 from 3 in this game. And I don't expect them to shoot 25% from 3 every night, but this isn't going to go away anytime soon. There's going to be a lot of nights where they shoot 30%, sub 30%, and games are going to get really ugly if you can't knock down threes. It was so clear from the get-go how much deeper the Warriors were. And maybe that's an unfair comparison because the Warriors are the champions and the Lakers missed the playoffs last year, but the Lakers have championship aspirations. Even if they're not going to get close to them, they still do have those aspirations. When you've got LeBron James and Anthony Davis and you trade for a guy in Russ, you want to win a title. Of course, every team does, but there is some urgency here. And the fact that they brought in the supporting cast, nobody could knock down a shot. It was brick after brick after brick from a lot of these guys. It's not encouraging. Of course, they were missing Thomas Bryant, who can kind of shoot, Dennis Schroeder, who's solid. But even then, I don't think this is going to go away. Juan Toscano-Anderson missing a lot of threes. Patrick Beverley was shooting step-back threes, which is never a good sign. I'm just not encouraged by this at all. Defense looked a bit better, but God, the shooting is terrible. And if that continues, the Lakers aren't even going to make the play-in because you've got to be able to shoot in this league. You can't be putting up 43s and making 10, especially against a team like the Golden State Warriors. They tried to make kind of a phony comeback towards the end of the game where they cut it to like 12, I think, but then there was a sloppy turnover and a foul on a 3-point play or something like that, and everything just fell apart. Not a good showing from the Lakers, not super encouraged. Some things, some positives to come away from it, but for the most part, it's going to be a long season again unless some trades come really, really fast. And that was NBA opening night. Let me know what your biggest takeaways were in the comment section below. And as always, please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. I'm super excited to be back with y'all for this season. Don't miss any recaps by hitting that notification bell too. I appreciate y'all watching. I will see you all later. Real One, say it back.